Hey guys, welcome to episode 15 of Simple Ken. Nothing dramatic has happened this week.
It's time for simple. It's time for simple. It's time for simple Ken. It's time for simple. It's time for simple. It's time for simple Ken.
Really happy that this one I'm doing punctually, and as you can notice, there are two cameras. Yeah, using two phones. So the thing is, I'm shooting around at 5:20. So there's a house in front of me which will block the sunlight. So if you're listening to this, you have nothing to worry about. But you will see the lighting change. And I'm colorblind, so the way these videos are color corrected are weird because I edit and color correct them, even though I shouldn't, because there are professionals out there. But I got to keep the budget of the show low. Otherwise, it'll be very expensive to spend so much money on color correction. But yeah, I mean, that's why if you notice, some of my videos are very bizarre color or bizarre contrast. So as a fellow colorblind person, I can see contrast, can't see color. I had a very non-dramatic week, very happy. Everything's great at home. And the world, nothing terrible has happened in this week. Or maybe I have to wait for 2-3 weeks. But you know what? That's a very pessimistic and cynical way of looking. A lot of good things have happened. So let's focus on that. A trailer for Batman has come out. That is joyous. This episode, I have a lot of awesome questions. So it's going to go a little longer than usual. Thank you for the questions. We got a lot of love for episode 14. I'm guessing the love might reduce for episode 15 because that's how life works. But really cool questions on episode 14. Really glad. So let's go with the first question. I'm not going to waste time just blabbering away in the intro because can you get to the questions? Get to the point. So I'm going to get to the point. Okay. So Aaron 18, first question. It's so weird doing this in the open because if anyone's going to go for the evening walks, they're totally going to see me. I thought I'll be used to getting embarrassed, but I think the situation. You never get used to a new situation. The embarrassing things I've done on stage, I still feel more shy doing this. I'm so conscious right now. Anyway, Aaron 18 asks, "Hey Kenny, here are my questions." Thank you, Aaron, for the heads up. Recently, I found out that you being left-handed and still you're playing guitar with your right hand. God damn it, that's true. Are you ambidextrous? Actually, I'm ambidextrous, which means I use both my hands. If yes, to what extent have you gone through any miserable conditions of being ambidextrous? That's true. When I was a kid, I used to get a lot of looks for eating with my left hand. So I actually trained myself to stop eating with my left hand because it's looked down upon. Because as we all know in India, the right hand is for eating and left hand is for cleaning the butt. Speaking of butt, a lot of you guys clarified my butt hair inquiry. 2 people actually answered the butt hair thing. Yuvashri, purpose of butt hair. But the thing is, she Googled it. Okay. Someone else also answered just to give context, last question I asked, what is the evolutionary use of butt hair? And I joked that a biologist who's listening to this might reply. Because last time a plastic surgeon plastic surgeon responded how you can't do hair transplant from butt hair. I wanted a biologist to answer the question, not Google it. Even I can Google it. The joy came from someone whose job is not to answer just such stupid inquiries. You know what? No question is stupid. Anyway, I'm ambidextrous, and that left hand, right hand eating thing was the only bad experience I had. It's really nice because it's whenever I'm doing something new, I have to figure out which hand is the dominant hand. So sometimes I'll be playing cricket, and I think cricket I bat right hand. When I'm bowling, I decide which hand is better. Even guitar right hand, I didn't even know there was left-handed guitars. Badminton, table tennis, some days when I'm going, it's a bad day, I switch from right to left. I know this joke has potential to become dirty really fast, but I won't go there. Can you give me some tips to minimize my OCD? As I've been doing a lot of arranging things to be in symmetry and unnecessary anxiety for silly things. By the way, I don't know if you're using OCD as a general expression or you have obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a very serious disorder which has ruined people's lives. If it's the latter, then please see a therapist immediately and get medication can help you. If it's the former, just an expression, um, then I don't know how you can relax. I don't know, go for therapy or do something more relaxing, but OCD is very serious. So I don't know the context of the gravity of how bad it is. By the way, long recording if you're talking is very much soothing for me to listen. In a stressful period, your views on as you give honest and practical answers to all the doubts. You know what? I wanted to clarify the whole giving advice thing. I know it's a joke that I keep saying that there's no advice, and it sounds like I'm giving advice. I just want to be very clear that giving advice is very dangerous, and you guys think I have everything figured out or my career figured out, or you see myself as sorted, but I'm not. And I mean, no one is, and you can't be sorted. It's impossible. I know you'll be like, hey, Kenny, we're just taking your perspective. Again, please take that with a grain of salt. Anything, just anything anyone says, especially from the internet. Before the internet, there were like a lot of steps where people would stop you from putting out shit. Like if you had to put a scientific paper, everyone sits together and discusses it and dismisses your scientific paper. Or if you become an author, a publisher, or a bunch of people read it and like, this is bullshit. Doesn't mean that you can't write bullshit back in the day, but now the only thing that's stopping me between my bullshit and you listening to my bullshit is the upload button. And that's not much of a resistance for fact checking or reflection. And I just really want people to not believe everything I'm not talking about propaganda, not even that high level. Just there's an intention and context to everything. So I contradict myself a lot in a single episode. So again, I just really want people to understand this, that I don't want to give advice because you could ruin someone's life because they think you believe that and they look up to you. What I mean is, you could listen to someone you look up to and they say you should invest all your money in stocks, even though they don't do that, and you lose all your money. That's horrendous. Also, someone walked by. So that's why I took a ridiculously long pause. So if I pause weirdly, it's because someone's walking by. Luckily, they're all wearing masks, so the embarrassment is much lesser. So your views on jealousy in the last episode is so relatable that I used to think that whenever I feel jealous of someone, hope your dad is keeping well, lots of love. Dad's doing great. So these are my views and my perspective, which are completely flawed. It's not advice, okay? I'm just answering a question you asked me. Zami, it's an Instagram question. It's lovely to see how few of the top stand-up comedians like yourself, Kanan, Biswa, Naveen, Abish, have come together so far all together and have been so tightly knit for such a long time, even before the fame. So I want to know, have you met each of these people? How you met each of these people? How have they molded your journey so far? And how have they changed themselves over the years? Any cool or amusing instance that would have happened in the past would be bonus. Hashtag tight chuddy. Why did you stop this hashtag? Because I was very nervous in the first episode and I was saying some bullshit. Still am. I think I was also discussing this with Rohan Joshi on the Random Chikibum live stream we did, that it's really special how we've kind of stuck together and have each other's back. Not everyone does, but it's nice. And I'm glad it's like that. It has every reason not to be this tight-knit and supportive. And not everyone talks to each other, but the thing is, Karan, Biswa, Naveen, Abish, they're really good friends of mine. And except Abish, Karan, Biswa, Naveen were from Bangalore. And we became friends because the scene was so small and we felt really insignificant compared to the Bombay scene, that I think that brought us together. And we became friends first because there was no reason to benefit from each other than just friendship. So I guess that's why. I think that's why. Any fun instances? I think the first time I met Naveen, I thought he was very mean to me. and arrogant. But if you ask Naveen this, I think we only spoke about this. If you ask Naveen, he said I was being weird. It's probably true. Yeah, I think end of the day, when we saw each other and we didn't know what we were doing, that vulnerability and naivety brought us together. And now I think we kind of know what we're doing sometimes. And then when we don't know what we're doing, that's when we think of each other. So even just like a few days ago, I called Kanan and I asked him about some project. And he gives such nice perspective. And then halfway, he will be like, oh, that's good perspective. So we keep flipping. Sometimes when I have trouble dealing with certain things, I call Biswa because I know he will agree with me. So it's fun. Is that a helicopter? It is. Anyway, next question. That helicopter is still around. Kudos to you for sharing those views so candidly. Is that helicopter rounding around my house? Now, what a jobless helicopter, dude. It's a residential area. Imagine if I could tell the helicopter. Oh my god. Come on! Come on, helicopter. I'm losing my light, man. Okay, this is ridiculous. Finally. Okay, this question is from Isha14. Hey Kenny, this is the first time I ever listened to one of your podcasts and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kudos to you for sharing those views so candidly. One of the topics that caught most of my attention was when you used the word depressed and quickly changed to sadness. I could see the realization in your face. I had a very close encounter with people who have clinically depression and what it can truly do to one person. I personally feel the word depression is very casually used in conversation, but kind of ways does its true meaning make it hard, especially for us Indians, to understand the concept. I know it's a bit of a dense area, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, Isha, this is not directed at you, but even as comedians, I have to be very careful with usage of my words, mostly because people overreact. Now, the word depression does not denote depression. It's major depressive disorder, MDD. That's what the disorder is. Just like OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, in my old stand-up, I have used OCD in the wrong way, and that's wrong. But the word depression does not mean the disorder. So if the reason I corrected it because I didn't want people to think I meant the disorder, but I think because to raise awareness, people get so sensitive. Like, how can you use the word depression so casually? But the word depression is depression. It's a feeling of emotional negativity or sadness. Major depressive disorder, that's the term. So the problem is not the fact that it's part of the English language and people use it. Because when people say depression without realizing it, they don't mean no any harm. They just are saying the word, and it's kind of ridiculous to attack a person. He's not the problem. The problem is people who have the disorder and don't get help or are stigmatized for it. Yeah, so that's why I kind of changed my word, not because it's wrong to say the word depression. It's just that I didn't want you to think I had seasonal depression or major depressive disorder. But it's okay for people to use the word. I wish I didn't use OCD so nonchalantly before, because I'm literally saying OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. But again, my intention was to talk about someone who's obsessive. But I'm older now, so I know that it could be misconstrued. And I think that's the wrong focus. The focus should be on getting treatment and destigmatizing it. And I don't think it's as simple as, oh, it's in the English word, so people take it literally. Heart attack does not mean someone's attacking your heart. It means that your heart can't pump anymore. So there's no attack actually. It's actually a heart blockage or heart stoppage. The word is not the issue. It's raising awareness about what it is. So it's okay. It's okay. Prithvi Dev says, I love how you simply break down complex problems which eats up a lot of time. I don't think I break it down. I'm trying to understand the question and I'm saying it out loud, and that's what you guys see. So it's great that it's helpful, because that's the whole point, that I can talk about stuff I always want to talk about and not necessarily make a joke, and also connect with you guys. So it's fun. Thank you for doing what you do. My question is, I'm interested in a lot of things and I know I put some effort into it. I'm good at it, but I can't really decide what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. In college right now, Huge chunk of your life is taken away by the work you do, and deciding what to do feels like a very big responsibility. Thus, I'll figure it out on the way, is what I tell myself. It's great how you stumbled upon various things and was able to chalk out your way through it. Just want to know your views on this. Thank you for reading. Okay, this is why I took this question. I did not have things figured out, and it's not like I stumbled upon things. Oh my god, is that freaking helicopter back? Oh, I hate this guy so much. Anyway, I I consciously went out of my way to do things, to try things, to get over my fear, to experiment, to take risks, to not hang out with my friends as much, to not party as much, to not waste time as much. I consciously did that. I didn't stumble upon it because I had this immense drive, still do, to just do stuff and learn stuff and gain skills. And obviously, I had, again, this is my story. I had the luxury of my parents being financially okay, so I didn't have to worry about them. But I was financially independent because I was working by myself. I was doing graphic design in college for clients and talking to clients and convincing them to work with a 19-year-old, 20-year-old boy. But I did good work and I learned stuff very consciously. Back then, I did not know I was going to do stand up at all. That is never the goal. So the reason I'm answering this question is because I don't want you guys to think that I figured everything out. And in retrospect, it looks very straightforward. But when I was doing it, I had no idea. The only goal I had was to learn shit and do shit. As simple as that. I just never said no. It's like the movie Yes Man by Jim Carrey. Watch it. It's super fun. It's on Netflix. I just said yes to things. And my main goal was, hey, if I do this, I'll learn something. And the more uncomfortable and scary it is, the more likely I would do it because I knew I would come out changed from it. I had a really good mindset when I was younger. It's like a beautiful cycle. All the mantras and mindsets I had about new experiences, working hard, taking risk, be humble, be kind, all of that shit, I started questioning when I got older. And as I'm getting older, I'm understanding that those are right. So I'm back to square one. Only that I'm aware of what I'm doing now. So, Prithvi, that's what I want to tell you, that in retrospect, everything seems very planned, but it wasn't like that. So if you feel lost, completely normal. Just do stuff. And if you are doing something and it's horrible, like too horrible, then stop doing it. But if you're doing something and it's uncomfortable, but you're learning a lot from it, then just go in that direction. And then when you look back, you're like, man, all of this is great. Edu Pro says repeating garments every now and then is normal and not at all awkward. You're right. I'm sorry, man. It's just like a lot of people on Instagram kind of notice I wear similar shirts. And I think that made me conscious. But you're right. Edu Pro, you're right. It shouldn't be awkward. Sarjan S says, after lockdown started, I stumbled upon graphic designing and digital art, and now I'm in love with it. I was never even remotely drawn to design before, but now I think it's become a passion. I spent the last few months learning, giving up a few times and growing my skills, and now I'm at a point where I want to design new stuff, but I can't seem to think of anything. Like, for example, if I want to make a movie poster, I couldn't move away from what the artists have created. I feel like I'm just stealing parts from other artists and putting it together in a way I like. This is killing my motivation because every time I design something, I put something else I saw into it, and I feel like that's not my original thought or something I can claim as my own. Is this normal in the design field or in any field concerned with creating something like music, comedy, or other arts? I would love to hear your opinion on this. Wishing health to you, Achan. Thank you, Sarjan. Love and respect. So sweet. Sarjan, you have defined what creativity is. I'll give you a mind-blowing way of learning stuff. In school, they make you learn everything. Like if you want to learn about computers, they make you by heart all the terms. What is a keyboard? What's a CPU? Full form of it, MS-DOS, coding. What is a monitor screen? Shit you don't want to know. History of computing, first computer. You could also just learn what you want to learn. And if you learn enough of that, you end up kind of learning everything about it. So when I started learning editing by myself on the internet, I didn't learn how to edit and learn the history of editing software and linear editing, non-linear editing, workspaces. I just learned how to edit home video or music video. I learned that how to edit action sequence, how to edit. And the more I did chunks of what I liked, I invariably learned workflow, non-linear editing, linear editing, music. It's a great way to learn stuff because A, while you learn, it's super fun. And B, you invariably learn the peripherals. So also, nothing is new, no idea is unique. And it's a great way to start by copying. But when you copy, you clearly are self-aware you're copying. And when you share it, you let the person know this is not your idea. For example, the movie poster thing, start by recreating movie posters as it is. And then you can show to your friend, hey, I created this movie poster of Pulp Fiction or Star Wars. I mean, your friend knows you didn't make this. And then eventually recreate a lot of posters and you'll invariably learn how to use the software and how to design. And then you start experimenting little by little to a point where you'll eventually make something unique. Nobody, by your example, if you think that if you've done something that someone's done before, then using any font is plagiarism, right? Like you can't use any, I can't think of fonts. You can't, Captain Starfield is Starboy's theme, by the way. So you invariably, as Einstein said, are on the shoulders of giants before you. So it's okay. Just be aware that right now I'm learning, so I'm going to copy a lot and don't profit off it. Don't plagiarize for profit. But once you start creating stuff on your own, then you can maybe start profiting off it because have a big window for learning. I didn't start charging for graphic design for a long time till I was good at it. Same thing with stand-up. I didn't charge a lot when I was like, so this material is not good. Even with stand-up shows, when we're doing new material, we don't charge as much because, I mean, it's not because we plagiarize, it's because we know the value of it. So right now, don't put a value to it. You're learning, so just do anything you want, copy, mix two things. Once you learn your skill and start experimenting, then put value to it. Then you'll feel less guilty. I think right now you're putting a lot of value to it. Don't put value to the learning stage. Make mistakes. What a tutty thing to say. Make mistakes. It's like an Instagram post. Hey, Kenny, just saw your 13th episode, which you ended with 13 being an omen about bad luck and you not believing in the same. Obviously, even though tense moments with your dad, your views certainly won't have changed. Hey, what are you saying? That because of episode 13, shit happened in my house? That's some bullshit, man. But many of our parents' generation are still quite religious, superstitious. How do you feel about the way our 20s generation currently deals with this topic, and what do you feel, good or bad, about the way we deal with our parents following their beliefs? Literally every episode is a question about dealing with parents, and I just want to say that you will be your parent one day. This is just classic case of you have grown and your previous generation hasn't. That's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to me. I think I'm very open and understanding and shit. But then when my kids come into the world, they are going to be way more well-read and way more aware. And I'm going to look close-minded and stupid. And I can already predict shit that I'm going to disagree with. So it's just the privilege of seeing it from a different perspective. So right now you think you're very smart and open-minded, not superstitious and religious or regressive. It's because you're the new generation. So yeah, every episode there's a question about this. I know it's frustrating everyone because you're hanging out with your parents because there's a pandemic and there's a lot of friction. But it's good. It's good to deal with that. Krishna has a very relationship-y question. You have proved that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. After getting betrayed in a relationship, people tend to have major trust issues. What do you think is the best way to not carry this feeling of insecurity to the next relationship? It's a great question, Krishna. And the first priority is to not carry anything to the next relationship, at least consciously. Unconsciously, so we carry a lot of shit. Trust issues are very hard. This is where introspection comes in. And just sitting down with yourself and looking at the situation and understanding, it really helps. But the trust issue, if you mean someone cheated on you, I'm very sorry because I've not gone through that, so I don't know. But if it's in terms of trying to emotionally connect with someone and they emotionally. Also, the word betrayal is very interesting. Use the word betrayed, right? I also use the word betrayed with relationships, but then I realized that it's not a helpful word to use when it comes to relationships because it sounds like, what's the right word? It sounds like the how they behave how they behave has to be according to you. Yeah, I think that's the nicest way to say it. So the word betrayal is like, you're not supposed to do this to me. It's betrayal. And I feel that you've already put, again, I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about emotional betrayal. And most of the time, it might be in your head, but it's a good word to introspect. What, according to you, in relationship is betrayal? Even non-romantic relationships. And you will be very surprised to see that what you consider as betrayal is not betrayal for the other person. So you might go through many relationships and just be getting frustrated. Man, it's a sweet moped. Sweet moped just passed by. You might go through many relationships and people are just acting normally, but it's abnormal from your perspective and you see it as betrayal. So it's a great word to introspect. Betrayal. I think I'm going to wrap up this episode. I can't believe that most of this episode was a helicopter. I mean, I cut it out, but a helicopter just circling around. I'm sure that guy in the helicopter must be just like, oh, look at me. I'm sure if you're a helicopter pilot, you think you're amazing, right? And you think that me riding over someone's house, flying over someone's house is not a big deal because I'm having fun. But no, helicopter pilot, whoever you are, it's not cool, okay? Just because you have access to a helicopter does not mean you ruined my recording. So annoying, man. So goddamn annoying. Anyway, again, very excited about I finished Ghost of Tsushima, by the way, the PS4 game. And now I'm playing God of War PS4. I did not play that game before. For the people who are not interested and don't give jack shit about what I'm saying, God of War is a PS4 game that is based on Greek mythology and is about this guy who beats Ares, who's a god of war in Greek mythology, and becomes the god of war. And starts the whole game is you kill Greek gods. It's super fun, super nice. And the newest one is based on Norse mythology. And I had read the new Norse mythology book by Neil Diamond. And because I read the Norse mythology thing, this game is so much fun. Like the World Serpent and Balder and Frigg. Like Thor, his wife, Thursday is named Thursday, and Frigg is why we have Friday. And it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool how all of these old fables and mythology has influenced our daily lives. The word mythology is also a very interesting word to introspect. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm happy that I released it on time. And again, I just want that helicopter guy to just introspect and be like, just because I'm flying above you doesn't mean I'm above you. I really actually pictured taking a missile launcher and shooting, and then I thought of how I would get. I think it was a helicopter, so the government might come after me. But it's worth it. Maybe he's wasting time. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm so upset by this helicopter. Man, if I had a fighter jet, you know what? If I had a fighter jet and I was doing this, I would be like, cool. Because, it's very hard to fly a fighter jet and you're going at the speed of sound, like 3 times the speed of sound, 4 times the speed of sound. You know what? Go around my house 1,000,000 times. It's fine. But this helicopter is one cheapness, one arrogance attached to helicopters. Oh man. I feel when you're in a helicopter, it's so slow, no? So you can really soak in how high you are. Plane, it's not fathomable. It's so fast, but helicopter, you're like, look at me, I'm better than everyone. And it's so rare, no? You feel like you're better than everyone. But if you fighter plane, you can enjoy. It's become a bit about helicopters and fighter planes. But man, if I was a pilot, a fighter jet pilot, I'd be so arrogant. Helicopter pilot, I would be humble because I know I look like an idiot. I look like an adult in a giant dragon firefly. Dragonfly? What the hell is dragon firefly? Sorry. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for listening. Hope you like my two angles. This show is on. I was almost going to say podcast. It's on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, everywhere you want. You can see it on YouTube. You're seeing it on YouTube right now. But if you don't want to see it on YouTube and you just want to hear it, actually in the comments below, I would love to know if you do both. If you just listen to the audio sometimes and just see the video, or you only see the video, I would love to know that. And thank you so much. Have a good week. Hopefully nothing dramatic. And also great questions this week. Great questions. Really happy with them. I had to not take up a lot of questions. So I had a lot of fun discussing it. Now I can go back and have some chai because my mom's made it at 6 o'clock. It's chai time, guys. Tata, bye bye.
It's time for simple.